Chapter 4. The Luck of the Draw. The grand hall of the Macau Jockey Club buzzed with an air of tense anticipation. A mix of wealthy magnates, local celebrities, and ambitious entrepreneurs filled the room, their faces a mask of feigned composure and nervous excitement. Robert Evans stood among them, feeling like a man from another world. His modest suit stood in stark contrast to the tailored silk jackets and designer watches of the other members. He was here for a different reason, not for status or profit, but for the thrill of the sport and the slim hope of finding a friend for his daughter. Mary squeezed his hand, her own nerves a palpable presence. On a large stage, a British gentleman, the same one who had purchased hundreds of horses from New Zealand, stood before a massive electronic screen. The raffle was about to begin. The random numbers for the 450 new members would be drawn, each one linked to a horse waiting in the stables. Robert held his breath as the screen flickered to life. The numbers flashed by in a dizzying cascade of digits. A wave of groans and cheers swept through the crowd as numbers were called and owners were matched with their new equine companions. Robert's stomach was a tight knot of anxiety. He closed his eyes for a moment, hoping for a sign, any sign, that this was the right decision. When he opened them, the screen displayed his membership number, 072. A wave of relief followed by a surge of excitement washed over him. He had his horse. The next step was to go to the official's desk, pay the required $40,000, and receive the horse's details. He and Mary made their way to the front, feeling a mixture of elation and terror. He handed over his check, and in return, he received a thick manila folder. Inside, he found a picture of a magnificent chestnut horse with a black mane, and beside it, a name that made his heart skip a beat. Paris. He also saw the name of his new trainer, Claude, a French national known for his dramatic flair. Robert, ever the diligent researcher, knew a few things about horses, but what he saw next in the folder made him freeze. Below the name of Paris, he saw the name of the sire, vaguely noble. He stared at the name, a wave of disbelief washing over him. Vaguely noble. The legendary stallion who had sold for $8 million in the 1970s, a sum that would be worth over $50 million today. Robert's new hobby had paid off, but in a way he could have never imagined. He had won the lottery. He had received a horse whose lineage was worth a fortune for the price of a regular raffle ticket. The other members, oblivious to the pedigrees of the horses, had seen this as a wholesale purchase of mediocre animals. They had no idea that a diamond, Paris, was hidden among them. A surge of elation ran through him as he shared the news with Mary, who was equally stunned. With the raffle concluded, a new wave of reality hit Robert. He had a horse, a valuable one at that. But what now? He went to the stables, filled with a sense of wonder and trepidation. He found Claude, his new trainer, a Frenchman with a thick accent and a penchant for dramatic gestures. Claude was emotional, loud, and passionate, the antithesis of Robert's measured personality. Claude looked at Robert with a grave expression, his face somber. "Mon ami," he began, his voice thick with a French accent, "we have a problem." He led Robert to Paris's stall and pointed to the horse's hoof. Robert's heart sank as he saw it. One of Paris's hooves was tilted, a clear birth defect. "This horse," Claude said, his voice now a sorrowful whisper, "he cannot run. If we race him, his leg, it will break. It is a tragedy." The elation from the raffle vanished in a single, devastating moment. Robert felt the world crumble around him. The dream of a championship horse, the hope of a new life for Tiffany, all seemed to disappear with that one cruel revelation. He had spent a fortune, the $6,000 membership fee, the $2,000 monthly maintenance fee, and now the $40,000 for a horse that couldn't even race. Mary, who had been filled with a glimmer of hope, almost fainted at the news. The dream of a champion, the idea of a horse that could change Tiffany's life, was now just an expensive pet. It was a cruel twist of fate, and Robert was devastated. Claude and the other trainers offered a cynical solution. Don't run him, sell him for his pedigree, or buy insurance and profit from his death if he breaks his leg. But Robert, looking at the beautiful broken horse, knew he couldn't do that. He had not joined the Jockey Club for profit. He saw something in Paris that transcended the injury, a spirit that deserved a chance.